Parikshit. And also, please join me in welcoming Debjani Ghosh, Distinguished Fellow and Chief Architect, FTH, NITI Aayog. A huge round of applause for both of them, please.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, Ms. Debjani Ghosh, for being with us. Ms. Ghosh, of course, has headed India's IT industry body, NASSCOM. She's the head of Frontier Technologies at NITI Aayog, which is the Indian government's leading think tank. Let me begin with the work that you have done. Some of it has been showcased at the Bharat Mandapam as well. Work in terms of how AI can power India's economic growth. Give us a sense of what's your blueprint on that front.
Wow. Okay, that's a loaded question to start with. So, you know, if you break down the levers of AI, right? There are broadly three levers that will decide what happens when you use it. The first lever is re-engineering every single workflow that exists. And a workflow is not just manufacturing or agriculture, it's education, it's how we learn, it's how governments govern. But every single workflow, if we can re-engineer for higher productivity, higher efficiency, that's the first lever. The second lever is, how do you use AI to significantly accelerate scientific discovery? Right? And there's some fantastic work that's happening around that space, from finding cancer cure to renewable energies to new material development, etc., etc. And the third lever is a lever that you have to manage. These are two positive levers. The third lever is, with technology evolution, your risk surface continues to expand, right? So how do you navigate that? So I think for any country, any government that is thinking of using technologies like AI for accelerated growth, it's really about how do you play with these three levers. How much of productivity boost do you go in for? Which are the sectors that you will go in and re-engineer the processes? How much of, where do you want to bet with respect to accelerated scientific discovery? How do you manage risks? So it's going to be a combination of these three.
You know, over the last few weeks, we've been seeing how IT stocks all over the world have been affected because of changes happening due to AI, Anthropic launching an AI legal tool, and that somehow set off a ripple effect in the IT stocks. How do you think the Indian IT services sector is prepared for that disruption, which will only go stronger in the year 2026?
You know, I've spent so much time in this industry. How many times have we written off this industry?
Mr. CVK was here. He said that he's seen so many disruptions and risks in his career.
It's not just a disruption. When cloud happened, we said you're dead. When platformization happened, we said you're dead. When SaaS happened, we said you're dead, right? I think the one thing we underestimate about the industry is it's about people. And people have this ability to reinvent, to adapt, to change. But this time round, I think why the markets have reacted, and I think why people are worried, is we are not dealing with another cyclical disruption. We are dealing with a basic structural change. And this structural change has to do with the core business model of the sector. Yes, AI is disrupting the current business model. The revenue per head model, it's currently absolutely will get disrupted. But there is so much opportunity for this sector to move to an outcome-based revenue model. And I think that's the transition. I definitely am betting on the industry to transition to that.
Yeah. At NITI Aayog, give us a sense of the work, your recommendations in terms of increasing the level of skilling in our population. If you had to map out the skill deficit in the country right now, what would that be and how do we bridge that?
I think the only thing you can skill for is the ability to learn new things. Because you can't skill for something and expect after 5 years of college that thing to be relevant. You just can't. So it's really about building the foundation. It's building I think we need to bring statistics back into education, everything we do, maths, science, statistics. It's about building that problem-solving mindset. It's about building teamwork capabilities. But we have to re-engineer education itself, because people have to know how to unlearn and then quickly learn as new things happen. And I think that's going to be the new skill that everyone will need. That's going to be the life skill that everyone will need.
Are we using enough of AI in government services to gauge how our government schemes are actually performing on the ground? Do you think that there is a case for using AI at scale within the government?
I think Minister would have told you there's some amazing work happening at a state level, right? To understand not just how schemes are performing, but I'm amazed that some of the states are actually building predictive capabilities to say that based on how it has performed, how will they perform in the future? What needs to change? So, see, the one thing and this is one thing I keep telling all our states and departments, sitting on data is useless. Data has zero value when it's stored, unlike oil. So whoever said data is oil has done more injustice than, harm than good, because you keep storing data thinking it's oil and you have zero value. So you have to utilize that data. You have to turn that data into intelligence, and then you have to act on the intelligence. That's where the value comes. So it's going to be very important for states to realize that they have to unlock their data. And I think some states like Tamil Nadu and a few states have started doing it. You started doing it very well. And when you start unlocking that data, I think you have seen it, you realize it's not just about telling you what has happened in the past. The real power is when it starts telling you what will happen in the future. And I think that's where we will go.
Right. At the government's leading think tank, what is the current thinking in terms of upskilling our students, making sure our IITs, our IIMs, they're prepared for the future? We were speaking to some experts yesterday, and they said that from class 3 onwards, or standard 3 onwards, you should be teaching AI to students. Where do you think we should start?
First of all, I don't know what teaching AI means. You have to do AI. I really do not understand what this concept of teaching AI means. If you're going to have curriculum that's telling you AI is XYZ and this is what it means, trust me, it's useless. Right? They have to code. And coding is great. Even though they say coding jobs will go away, I love coding because it's the biggest problem-solving tool, right? So coding, we have to think of coding very differently. It builds that questioning mindset. It builds a mindset of solving problems, of developing, of building. And I think that's the mindset we need. So at NITI, in the Frontier Tech Hub especially, when we looked at tech jobs, we came out with a report to see what would be the impact of technology, and I'll get to skills in that context. What is the impact of technology in India? The tech workers in India roughly is around 8 to 9 million. 6 million, around 5 to 6 million is in the tech industry, and the rest are in all other industries from banking to healthcare. And when you start breaking down the impact of AI on tasks, because there is no such thing as AI displacing jobs. AI displaces tasks. So when you start breaking down what does AI do to specific tasks, you realize that the first level it's going to completely make irrelevant is the entry level, the routine jobs, the low-end coders, the data entry operators. Because that's where even today, with a lower level of AI adoption, we are getting around 30% higher productivity. And we believe in the next 2 years, when adoption goes up, you're going to get around 50% productivity, when it's going to be very difficult to justify headcount, right? So even if we just look at that, that's going to be an impact of around 1.5 million people in the next 3 years, right? Now the question is, where will they go? Are there new jobs getting created? Yes, there are new jobs getting created. But the nature of jobs is very different. The jobs that are going away are jobs that employed millions of people, right? These are the low-end jobs that employs millions at a time. The jobs that are coming in are hyper-specialized jobs that employ at best thousands or 100,000 people. But when you start adding up the jobs that are coming in, and we did that for India over a roadmap of 3 years, we found that while 1.5 million gets displaced, nearly around 4 million new jobs are getting created in the industry, but it requires a completely different skilling mindset. We have to completely re-engineer how we teach. It has to be based on what are the skills that's needed, what are the jobs, and this is where the industry-academia connect becomes absolutely critical. And one of the things that NITI has been asking for is a whole-of-government approach to AI talent building in the country. So,
we've concluded our talks with the European Union, and one of the countries we will be collaborating with very closely is with Sweden. What can we learn from Swedish businesses, the Swedish government, their approach to upskilling, their approach to sustainability in data centers, and also deploying AI at scale and in a democratic fashion?
I don't know if it's what can we learn, but it is how do we ensure that there is continuous learning happening? Because learning is both ways, and there are so many best practices across, and especially when you're talking about Sweden, in terms of the green data centers, what they are doing, the power efficiencies. There's just so much to learn. I think one of the things, and this is what, in the AI Summit, we have these different working committees, and I'm chairing the one on economic development and social good. And one of the key things that we decided that has to happen going forward is the intelligence can't exist in silos. We need to create a network for this intelligence to flow across countries. And I think we need collective action right now. So there's a lot to learn from every country that you look at.
Right. And finally, 5 years down the line, if we had to say India is successful with AI, what would be certain benchmarks according to you?
A thriving MSME sector, the backbone of our nation, with productivity up around 10x or more. The informal sector of India, which is 50% of GDP, the construction workers, the caregivers, they see a huge bump in productivity. Every child, every woman, every man is AI fluent, if I may say that, because they know how to use it for whatever they need to use it for, and they know how to be safe in this AI era. But I think for me, it is a fantastic tool of augmentation. In 5 years, we should empower every citizen to use it to augment their lives, but we have to ensure that that process starts from the grassroots and not from the top. So that's why the sectors that usually get left behind, the informal sector, the small and medium businesses, we have to start there.
We have to make sure that they don't suffer. Thank you very much, Ms. Ghosh, for joining us here for a fantastic conversation on how India can lead and play a big role in the AI revolution taking place globally. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your valuable insights, and thank you, Parikshit. Well, moving on to our first panel discussion.